Hey there, music fans. This is Music as a Journey. I'm Peter Scove. Got another video coming up here. This one is the continuation of the story of all the CDs I have coming in here in, well, it's now February, but basically these were CDs ordered from the end of December and into January. So in a couple of weeks back, I did a video about like all the ones that already came in, and there were still more. Most of them have come in now, so I just want to talk about those. And basically this is a little bit unusual. I normally don't order a whole ton of stuff all at once, especially since, as I said previously, I'm trying to cut back because I really actually shouldn't be spending so much money on CDs. So anyway, this was just kind of a big blowout and of cash. And here are the results. So first of all, this is a band called Sadist. I checked out these guys in my year-end video last year for 2022. I was checking out people's picks for the top prog and top metal albums of 2022. And then I was checking out the ones that I thought sounded most interesting and decided to pick up a few, well actually a dozen. So this was one of them. This was Sadist here. This is called Fire Scorched. It is, actually, you know what, I've listened to it once through. Basically it's a kind of extreme metal. It's got the death metal vocals, but it has a lot of interesting stuff in it that makes it a little bit on the progressive side and a little bit on the experimental side. Right from the very opening track here, this what's this, Acabadora. There's already some kind of like different flavor to it. It's almost like kind of an eerie Indian flavor style, I think. Anyway, and throughout the album there are lots of surprises coming up in the music. So that was one thing I was keen to look out for, was to find not just in the metal section, not just like a solid death metal or solid black metal or whatever album. I wanted something that had some interesting twists to it. And so this one here definitely had that. As I said, I listened to it once through so far. I liked what I heard. I do have to go through and give it a listen again. But because there's been so much stuff coming through the door recently, I've basically listened to everything just about once. And yeah, have to get back to it. So here's another one. I don't remember why I suddenly decided to get this. No, I remember why now. It just so happened I found recently that when I can't get a hold of stuff on Amazon Marketplace or checking Discogs, or if it's a little bit too expensive, I've started to check out Yahoo Auction as well as a couple of the flea markets in Japan. And I saw someone was selling this one here, Nazareth Cinema. When I was in 10th grade in the mid-80s, a little bit past the mid part, Nazareth was my favorite band, and I had, at that time there were 15 albums out. I had them all on cassette, and then I remember Cinema coming out in 1986, so I picked it up on cassette at the time. I liked some of the songs on it, and I always thought I should get it on CD, so here it is. It does say remastered from the original master tapes with bonus tracks. The volume is a bit low, like while I'm listening to it I have to turn it up a little bit, but yeah, it's there. It's fine. I remember, yeah, you know what, listening to it again, I remember after 2XS and Sound Elixir and 2XS and Sound Elixir, and the one before that, Full Circle, Nazareth had kind of dropped out of their heavy sound. I think even from Malice in Wonderland they had scaled back on it. And I had the impression that this one was bringing back more of the rock side. But listening to it now, it still has a lot of that 80s flavor that they put on 2XS and Sound Elixir. Just some of the songs are getting a little bit more of an edge back to them again, like Salty Salty, Hit the Fan, the Other Side of You. And actually I always liked One from the Heart. Nice kind of like a... has a good melody to it, kind of a sweet song, but still an upbeat song. Anyway, Nazareth Cinema was it. This is used, but it's in very nice condition, and I think, I don't remember what I paid for it, something like 600 yen, so like $5 or something like that. Okay, then, I think I talked about Whitesnake, Ready and Willin', because of Whitesnake's first 10 albums, Ready and Willin' is the only one that I never had. I had everything else either on CD or cassette. But recently I've been going through the top picks of Whitesnake songs, and yeah, that's going to be another video coming out this weekend here. But anyway, I realized there were a couple of Whitesnake albums I used to have on cassette that I think I just felt, you know, I've got to get them on CD if I'm going to do this. So I went ahead and got both of them here, Love Hunter and Saints and Sinners. So now I have all of Whitesnake's first 10 albums on CD, so I am ready to do a couple of Whitesnake videos. One of them is probably coming out this weekend, I think. But anyway, there we go. Love Hunter. And yes, I'm showing you the lady's butt. You know what? Maybe I should cover it because, you know, trying to find the cover art for this with the butt showing was really difficult. I had to get one that was a little bit faded. Anything that had really nice color had the butt covered. Can't look at a lady's butt. Saints and Sinners. Hey, there's boobs on this one. I guess it's a statue, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, I really had to get these two here. And this one here actually is kind of an interesting thing. We're going to talk about this one in the video that I'm going to record tomorrow. So maybe I'll just move along then. Whitesnake, Love Hunter, Saints and Sinners. So here's the Scorpions' Rock Believer, which was released in February last year. I think February 25th internationally or something like that. I have not bought a Scorpions album since Savage Amusement. I like all the Scorpions albums, right from Lonesome Crow up to Love at First Sting. I think they all have some great songs on them, and I enjoy them. I don't listen to them so much recently, but anyway, Savage Amusement just put me off the Scorpions, and after that, I don't really know. I've heard things, you know, that some albums had some good songs, but I've also heard that they did some like weird decisions about the style of music. A German friend of mine who is, I think, 7 or 8 years younger than me, he said that for him, Scorpions was always pussy rock. So apparently in the 1990s, they made pussy rock. Anyway, I heard such good things about Rock Believer, I just decided without even listening to it, I'm going to get it. And I'm really impressed with it. This is like going back to the Love at First Sting, Blackout, Love Drive, Animal Magnetism era, but just with the more modern sound. And it's a great album with lots of what the Scorpions did best in those days. You know, put out some good solid rockers, put out some with some nice melodies. Surprisingly, there aren't any like really typical ballads on here. Again, I listened to this once. I listened to it once through and I thought, wow, I'm really impressed with this and I have to come back and listen to it again. But as I said, there's just been so much new stuff coming in. Rock Believer, the title track, that one seems to be the single, and it's good. It's good. I think it's one of those songs, the first time I heard it, I thought, wow, what a great song. And I played it again 2 more times, and then I watched some, what is it called now? I forget. There's a vocal coach who went over this like when it was just released last year and had so many great things to say about it. So, and then I listened to it a couple of more times and I thought, oh man, what a great catchy tune. This would be, you know, really cool to hear this performed in concert with the audience all excited. But I realized also it's probably a tune that I would get kind of tired of after, you know, a couple of more listens. But let's not put any damper on this thing here. This is a really cool album. I wasn't even going to order it right away. It's just that they have this like super high quality CD one on Amazon in Japan. And when I checked, okay, there's one left. And then I checked the marketplace and found anybody selling this was selling it for like 500-600 yen more. So like a few dollars more. So I just went ahead and ordered it anyway. But yeah, I'm very much impressed with it. There's some bonus tracks on here. And the very last one, Out Go the Lights. When that starts, I just thought, is this even the Scorpions? It was just so intense. But, okay, so, very cool album. I'll probably be talking about this in some video a little bit later on down the line. Okay, so I talked about my favorite albums of the 1960s, and one of them was Vanilla Fudge Renaissance. And at the time, I said, I think I might like rock and roll a bit more, but it's probably just for a few songs. So I decided to check out rock and roll and found, once again, out of print. You got to get it used for an expensive price, or you got to hunt down a sealed one somewhere in Europe and pay like, I don't know, like 10 euros, 13 euros for shipping to get a whatever. And so I looked around on Yahoo Auction. I think it was Yahoo Auction where I found it too. So here it is, Vanilla Fudge Rock and Roll. This is released on Sundazed. I think it was around 98 or 99, 1998 it says. Or is it? Yeah. And this is just the album with one bonus track called The Break Song, previously unreleased studio version. This is just a 19-minute jam, basically. Now, the songs that I liked on this one here, I actually bought this. I think I still have it in the closet there, too. I have this on vinyl, which I used to listen to back in the 80s, and I remember being really impressed with Need Love. It just had this really cool heavy guitar riff at the beginning. It's a very intense, exciting song. Lord and the Country was this weird gospel song, but I just kind of thought it was cool the way they did it. I Can't Make It Alone is a kind of, powerful ballad. Street Walking Woman, again, a good, rocking song. Church Bells of St. Martin's, I don't know what they were thinking. The Windmills of Your Mind, I liked that one. And If You Gotta Make a Fool of Somebody, I actually didn't remember that. But so I think there were 3 songs, maybe 4 songs. If 4 songs in here, five, sounding like the Spanish Inquisition. Five songs on here that I actually really liked. But listening to it now, I don't know, maybe I do like Renaissance better than this one? Not sure. But anyway, glad I got a hold of it. Rock and roll. Okay. Did we talk about Aerosmith? We talked about Aerosmith's first 10 albums. I said I didn't have Night in the Ruts yet, but it was on order, and then it came in. Here it is, Night in the Ruts. This was the first album they released without Joe Perry on, and had a guitarist, Jimmy Crespo. I think this is a great album. I actually had forgotten about most of it, but in the late 70s, Aerosmith were struggling. Of course, Joe Perry left. Drug problems were getting to be really serious. Draw the Line was not as good as Rocks and Toys in the Attic. But I feel this one here, they've kind of got themselves reinvigorated. And there are a lot of cool songs. Chiquita, I really like that one with the riff. Remember Walking in the Sand is a nice cover. 3 Mile Smile, Reefer Head Woman. Yeah, overall, I thought this was actually a pretty cool album. So, there we go. I got that. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. And then, alright, so we're on this big Uriah Heep fix, right? I had 8 Uriah Heep albums on CD. I bought a 9th one, Return to Fantasy. And then I just started really looking into their catalog. And I found that almost everything I wanted was out of print and hard to track down. So, once again, started exploring Disc Union and Yahoo Auction and Mercalli and whatever it's called. And I was able to find, so first of all, Into the Wild, which was their 2011 album. Apparently it's, you can't just scoop it up like you used to. So again, we have a super high quality CD version here. I had some points on Mercari, so I was able to get this for a much more reasonable price than I would normally have to pay for it. Pretty cool album. I think I've listened to it once and a half. This latter day Uriah Heep with Bernie Shaw and what's his name? Is it Phil Lansdon? Oh, wait a minute, I can actually see here. Phil Lanzon, yeah, on keyboards. They joined the band around 1987, 88 and have stayed with the band since then. So I feel that from that time on, Uriah Heep basically just became a hard rock band. Hard rock band, a little bit heavy rock band. Basically all the albums just play through like good, solid hard rock songs, which is different from what I really loved about them was what they did in the 70s when the albums were much more diversified. I mean, you could really distinguish one track from another after the first listen. These, latter-day albums from the late 80s and onwards, not as much variety, but still a lot of cool tunes. So Into the Wild, and then this one, I actually thought, I think I like it enough to get it, and boy, was it hard to get a hold of it. It is possible to get it if I want to pay like $50-$60 for a used one in very good condition, or if I want to pay like $80 for a sealed one. I actually found a used one, B-grade condition on Disc Union. I put it in the shopping cart on Tuesday together with another CD that I already had on order. This was Tuesday a couple of weeks back. And I thought, I don't want to pay for it yet. I want to wait till February so I can put it on the next credit card bill. And then I was checking out Raging Silence because I checked out Equator, their 1985 album, and I thought, man, that's whoa, I don't think I can listen to that. But I thought, I wonder what Raging Silence sounds like. And I thought it didn't sound so bad, even though it's one of their lower ranked albums. So I did, that's behind me here. I guess this is all part of the same story, so let's just do this. So, Raging Silence, And after I put that in the shopping cart, I realized if I could put in just a few hundred yen more, it would go over the over to the free shipping. So I hunted around and found Different World. Now the really cool thing about Different World and Raging Silence was that these were both sealed, factory sealed, brand new, but going for like 1,100 yen, 1,300 yen, which is basically slightly below the normal price for an older CD. You can get new CDs on Amazon or in Japan basically for about 3,000 yen, which is probably with today's exchange rate about 26, 27 bucks US. So a little bit expensive. So I was really glad to be able to get these two. These are both kind of lower ranked albums in the Uriah Heep catalog. However, I found that they're all right. There are actually a couple of tracks already that I've picked out as ones that I like. But as I said, you know, these are the albums featuring Bernie Shaw on vocals and Phil Lanzon on keyboards. And yeah, they are basically two hard rock albums without so much diversity as what Uriah Heep were doing in the 70s. So they fit into this, you know, this whole Bernie Shaw, Phil Lanzon period of Uriah Heep. But I like them. I'm glad I was able to get them for that price. I think that they're good enough. And so that brings us back to Fallen Angel. It was a Saturday night now. A few days had passed. I popped this one in. I wanted to order it, and then I couldn't use the address. For some reason, it said my address was too long. It was my work address. And it was already 1 a.m. and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this in the morning. So next morning, Sunday morning, I was making breakfast and I thought, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to order those CDs. And I went to the website and found that Fallen Angel was sold, for heaven's sake. I mean, I had it in there since Tuesday and I was trying to order it that night. And then Sunday morning, it's sold. What about that? So anyway, now it's like, okay, now I'm below the free shipping rate. I have to find something. So I did a search, found there was another copy available for even cheaper. This was 680 yen. And the reason why is because the cover, give me a sec here, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to show you why this was so cheap, because the CD is actually in fine condition, and I've listened to the album twice now. Sounds good. I actually like it. I like this album. Again, not as good as, you know, the early 70s stuff, but it has good diversity. John Lawton singing on here. I like his vocals. And now I think I have to get Innocent Victim, because then I can have all three of the John Lawton albums. No, this is why it was so cheap here. I mean, it's this paper. We're going to open this up. And so it's kind of like faded. This side is faded. And it's like kind of wavy, like it was exposed to moisture. It's like ripped here. There's a hole here. I wonder if somebody had pinned this up on their wall or something. I don't know if you can see it, but the artwork has more like a richer color here and more faded color. There's like this damage to it up here. There's some like tape marks. Somebody had put tape on it. So that's why it is so cheap, because the paper inside here is in terrible condition. But as I said, the CD itself is fine. No scratches, nothing. Plays great. So the only thing is now, do I want to spend like $30, $40 to get a copy that just has a better card? Or can I just live with it as it is? Maybe I'll live with it as it is for now. Okay, then the other item that I actually had in that Disc Union mailbox shopping cart at the time was this one here. This is Daminek, Making Sure. This is Daminek's third album. I've talked about them, I think, once, maybe twice before. This is Guy Manning, Sean Timms, and Merrick Arnold on here. There was another fellow with them, but he's not shown on the back, so maybe he's not around for this album so much. Merrick Arnold playing saxes and keyboards. It says also seaboard, really. Guy Manning, lead backing vocals, keyboards, acoustic guitar, instruments, loop samples, percussion. Sean Timms, keyboards, backing vocals, programming. Merrick Arnold is in Flaming Row. He's in 7 Steps to the Green Door. He was in Toxic Smile while they were still active, and he's in a couple of other bands, which I've talked about in videos previously. Guy Manning, he had his own solo band going. He was also a little bit in the Tangent at the very beginning, and also in Parallel or 90 Degrees, which was from the late 90s. Daminek is his current band. he's got this style of writing songs where it tells some kind of story, often like a particular person in history, not like a famous person, but just somebody in a historical situation type, like some immigrant to some new place, or some people struggling in some land that is suffering from some kind of like a climate crisis or something. Just lots of cool stories. I really like his style, and this is, you know, progressive rock, and it's really good. Sean Timms from Unitopia and Southern Empire, great keyboard player. So I really like the first two albums, and this one was coming out just this month, like just last month, January, just officially released in January, so I had to get it. There it is, pretty cool. Listen to it once. Of course, listen to it once. And the other thing was this one here. This is Vital Spirit. This was one of the 12 albums I checked out at the end of the year. This includes 2 members from Wormwitch, which is a kind of black metal band from Vancouver, but not only black metal. They have some other elements in the music, and one of those elements I've heard is crust, which I'm not so familiar with. But anyway, I really like Wormwitch's 3 albums that I have, and so I heard 2 of the members were doing this. This one, the black metal aspect is more just the really loud blast beats, and the vocals almost like completely indiscernible lyrics. It sounds mostly just like rah, rah, rah. But one thing I really liked about this album was that the songs will have this changeover, often near the end, but sometimes in the middle, where it's almost a kind of like world music. And I just listened to it this morning, so I'm still not like totally familiar with it, but it'll have like some like a haunting violin and some other instruments, or have a kind of like southwestern style sound to it, and it just is really cool like that. So yeah, because Wormwitch members, and because they're Canadian, and because they've got this, you know, album that I perceive as unique, I thought I had to get it. And I like the cover art too. So this is called, what is it called anyway? It's called Still as the Night, Cold as the Wind. Alright, and then basically the other thing was, I mentioned during my Blue Oyster Cult video that I had mirrors on this special Legends of Rock collection with this like audiophile high fidelity remastering, and I just thought I really liked the way that album sounded. So as I mentioned in my Blue Oyster Cult video, I picked up Cultosaurus Erectus with that Legends of Rock remastered in high definition, and I also ordered at the same time Fire of Unknown Origin, because the 2 albums that I had here of this I have on CD are just the old like compact disc initial compact disc release version from like the late 80s, early 90s. So these have excellent sound quality. So I've already listened to this one, Cultosaurus Erectus, and now I'm gonna listen to this one next week. And then I just decided I would get Spectres as well, because it was available for a reasonable price. Other albums in the catalog from the 1970s, basically the first 4, are a little bit more expensive or really hard to track down and a lot more expensive. So for now, I'm going with these ones here. The only thing is that these ones don't include any of the bonus tracks that appeared on some of the other reissues. So my other reissue of Spectres has bonus tracks on it. These ones don't. So I have to keep the other one too. Okay, and then what else is coming in? Uriah Heep, Living the Dream, the 2018 album. Really thought I didn't need to get it, but I kept hearing so many good things about it, so I thought, alright, I'm on this Uriah Heep kick, I'll get it then. Which means the only Bernie Shaw album I won't have is The Outsider. I'm not really sure if I need to get them all that badly, though. Anyway, and then there's also Nazareth. I got a Nazareth Big Dogs. I heard so many good things about it that I checked it out on YouTube and thought, yeah, okay, I haven't bought a Nazareth album since Cinema, so let's get a hold of Big Dogs. But I had to order it from Argentina, so it's taking a while to get here. And then one other album is called Spirit World. The band is Spirit World. The album is called Death Western, and that was one of the albums I checked out also at the end of the year. A kind of hardcore thrash metal cross album with all these like Western music, like, you know, spaghetti Western type music parts coming in and some spoken things and so on. It just sounded really neat, you know. So I ordered that one, and it's actually overdue now. I'm waiting for it to show up. So I think that was all. Yeah. 3 more still to come in the door, and then after that, nothing else. Keeping the finger off the order button for now, even though there are still about like a dozen more that I'm ready to buy. But anyway, so that's my latest pile of stuff in there. Now I've told you about that. Okay, if you watched, thanks for watching. Okay, and I'll be getting together a Whitesnake type themed video in a day or two. See you then. Okay, everyone, take care. Bye.